A lot of people in business fail to create a machine. They just have a job which they own. The purpose of having a business is to have freedom, a machine that you can create to become so valuable that hopefully one day you exit. And if we look at our culture, Arab, Pakistani, Indian, a lot of our parents and our uncles and aunties that have great businesses, they don't know when to let go. They're just working for like 20, 30, 40 years. Is that your end goal in life, to keep working? Or is it to create something special, to then be in the position to touch as many lives as possible? We actually identified from early on, from the first year of uni, that we had to learn how to sell, how to communicate, how to market, customer psychology, how to manage a team, how to motivate a team. We'd fall asleep to audiobooks and we'd wake up in the morning. Every day we'd learn more and more about that area that we were lacking. And if we'd have left it until after uni, we would be 7 years behind. People saying that they're shocked that we're dentists because before, their image and perception of a dentist is somebody who's quite serious, normally somebody who inflicts pain, and they aren't really going to look forward to seeing that person. If you're somebody who's serious, takes life extremely seriously, if you are having a bad day, everyone knows about it, nobody will want to work with you.
Do you think having that positivity and that energy that you have as individuals is the key to why things have blown up, or do you think it's more a strategy and it's a tried and tested model that anyone could replicate?
I think.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode. We're actually joined with two good friends that have a very similar life path because we are all dentists. I'm less, but also you guys are now more entrepreneurs alongside dentistry. So before we kick off, I want to throw it to you guys to just introduce yourselves because I don't think I can do it as well as you guys will. And you bring a lot of good energy, so let's kick right off.
Dr. Hussain, Dr. Hassan, the TwinDentists, pioneering UK dentistry. We think outside the box. We live every day as if it's our last. And we're on a journey towards making £1 billion.
I just saw on your phone, one of your phones, as you had it on, there was a screenshot of $150 million.
£150,000.
£150,000.
So that's our target for daily revenue.
Daily revenue?
Yes.
Okay. And that's within how long? What kind of a time frame are you looking to hit that number?
Within the next few months. So it's been on my lock screen for the last 2 months, I'd say. And it's crazy because every month we progressed closer and closer towards that number.
No, from our discussions today, you're definitely well on your way, both of you.
Definitely. And that's where visualization comes in. If you want something really badly, it needs to be somewhere where you can see it every single day, because you'll actually find yourself doing things subconsciously without you knowing that will help you towards that goal. When we first put that wallpaper, the number on the screensaver of our phones, 150k, because I have it also on my phone, it seemed like a massive number. Now it seems like something that's very achievable, and we're actually not that far off, to be honest.
So before we talk about how we're going to get to that number, let's rewind back to get to this point, because your journey was you're both normal university students, hustling away with exams, going to the gym, trying to keep up with your religion as well. I remember back in the vlog days that you were doing. Talk to me about those beginning days that led to what you both achieved today.
Yeah, I'd say it's been a hell of a journey so far. It's been a beautiful journey. Lots of ups and downs, lots of beautiful moments, lots of wins, lots of losses. But they really have shaped us into who we are today. And we still are learning. We're still going for our journey. And to be honest, every single day is getting more and more exciting. We were saying a few days ago that the past 3 weeks have probably been some of the most exciting weeks of our whole life, because it just seems like finally we're going downhill now. Things are easier. It's fun. It's no longer a trial every other day. But if we take it back to the vlog days, it was two teenagers, ambitious, have always been in shape, have always been disciplined, trying to make it big for our family, trying to create something special for our family and take our family from success to significance. But before that, it was from stability to success. And that's what it's always been about for us. And when Hassan talks about it's downhill now, we use analogies a lot in our life. And he's talking about the snowball. And how it works in life is you're pushing. It's like a snowball. It starts off small. And then as it rolls down the hill, it gets bigger and bigger. There's a period in life where you have to keep working relentlessly to make that snowball big. And then there comes a point, which came for us a few weeks ago, where the snowball gets so big it rolls along itself, and it feels like it's moving without you having to push every single day. And it's almost a relief. It was like 3 weeks ago, we hit a record month, and it was like, Hassan, I was actually feeling filled with so much adrenaline. I felt like a little bit high, almost in the office. And I said to her, I don't know this before. I was like, you don't be smoking anything, have you? yeah. But it was just an exhilarating feeling that we'd never felt before. The phones were going off. Everyone was motivated. People were in the office at 5:30 p.m., which, if you know about office culture, is unheard of. Normally, people are off at 5 p.m., 5 to 5 in some cases. But everyone was there at half 5 because it was such an electric environment. And we'd worked so hard to get to that point. And like I said, it was a record month for us. And we're on set to do another another record month this month.
There we go.
So.
In terms of the team and the businesses you have, because you're in the dental field, but the traditional story is you go to university, you graduate, and then you start working in the NHS, and you start saving as much as you can to maybe one day have a clinic and then see what comes after that. But by then you're already 50, 60.
There you go.
Whereas the route you've taken is you've not only done the clinic space and expanding now, but you've also taken an aligner company, an education company, and you're, as you're giving the analogy, you're spinning multiple plates. So let's talk about the empire that is being built, because if we're hitting record numbers, where are these numbers coming from? Is it one business is more dominant? Are they pretty equal, or they're just feeding into each other and it's a well-oiled machine?
So in business, you have to have cash flowing companies, so companies that make a lot of cash. And what you do is you reinvest that cash into new arms of your company. That's the only way you're going to make monumental growth. So the main source of income for us has always been our dental clinic. And what we did is we created a dental clinic brand where people are no longer shopping on treatment, they're shopping on experience. And we associated our brand, Yorkshire Dental Suite, with going to a high-end business and having a high-end service like Dubai. You come here because you know you're going to get great service at a hotel and at a restaurant, and you pay more, you pay that premium to have a great experience. And that's what we did in dentistry. And then from that money, we acquired a company called Smile White, 8-figure deal. It's the fastest growing dental company, I would say, in the UK right now. Plans to take that abroad to Spain, to France, to Dubai as well, and really expand that arm of the business. And then we launched a education company, the Successful Dentist Academy, because when we were recruiting dentists to join our practice, we realized a lot of dentists don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to think as a winner. They don't know how to approach life and get the most out of life. So we put it all in a course. We put it all in an academy, multiple levels of our course. And the fact is it's had a massive uptake because dentists are realizing that without the side that we teach, they're just going to be a normal dentist living a normal life, earning a normal wage. But to get to that level of significance, they have to equip themselves with a new level of information, which is what we teach.
Do you think the dental school curriculum or university in general is more outdated, or it's more a case of you graduate under-equipped and you therefore you need more skills either way?
I would say you graduate equipped with dental knowledge, but unequipped with the business side of dentistry that's fundamental in achieving success. And so what we did was, rather than listening to what tutors say, and they basically say at dental school, you have to go through loads of qualifications, postgraduate education, do this particular treatment for many years before you can do it to a high level. It's all nonsense. We graduated and we applied our logical mind to see things for what they are. Dental treatments, the majority of dental treatments that patients want, you can do when you graduate from dental school anyway. So why would you bother spending years and years and years of your time studying for that 2% of extremely specialized treatments to do it to a very limited amount of patients anyway, when the majority of patients are wanting treatments that you can do straight away? So we went into dentistry. Within a few months of practicing, we were hitting record numbers in dentistry in the UK as associate dentists. And then we thought to ourselves, we can do more here. We can shape an industry. We've already understood and learned the business side of dentistry from the few months of dealing with patients. Let's hold that. Let's pass that on to other dentists. Let's build a team of great, highly skilled dentists and let them do the work and push the brand forward and really build something special to take on more patients and shape the industry.
There's that famous saying of to be a real entrepreneur or business owner, you don't work in the business, you work on the business.
Exactly.
And that's why you kind of scale higher and then you can steer the ship. But in that process where you knew when you're leaving university, you were missing some knowledge that was not in university, but you knew what was needed. So you had a knowledge gap. How did you close that gap and get the knowledge you needed for everything in terms of business, sales, customer experience and so forth?
To be honest, we actually identified from early on, from the first year of uni, that we had to learn how to sell, how to communicate, how to market, customer psychology, how to manage a team, how to motivate a team. And we started learning early on. We looked at university as training camp, and on evenings, weekends, we'd fall asleep to audiobooks and we'd wake up in the morning. Every day, we'd learn more and more about that area that we were lacking. And when we came out from university, we just attacked the marketplace. It was like special ops fighters attacking that battlefield and taking everyone out. That's what we did. And if we'd have left it until after uni to start learning, we would be 7 years behind. Yeah. But because we had that head start, it's paid back dividends in our life. And we honestly say to every single dental student, don't just follow the crowd and learn how to do a filling, how to do a crown prep. Utilize your free time to equip your mind to become a beast. That way, when you do graduate and the practice you work at or the company that you join, they will identify you as a very highly skilled individual and you'll go much further than anyone else in your career.
You know, I really like that approach you had where a lot of people can take university as almost time off, where they have this luxury of, I don't have to worry about finances because I have a loan or whatever, and therefore I just have to attend my lectures, pass my exams, and kick back, make friends, and enjoy life. And the approach I took, at least, was it would be such a shame if I spent 5 years just to graduate and achieve nothing else. So I found a different path along the way. But you guys took it as, this is my, it's a training camp. Let me go all in. And when people hear, or even myself, when I was asking you earlier, when did you graduate? And it was only 4 years ago.
Yeah,
4 years ago.
It feels like 20 years ago from the experience.
It's a crazy thing. You were fresh graduates, just brand new dentists, and within 4 years, you've taken over the UK space and built one of the premier brands out there. But it was not a 4-year journey. It was from the first year of university.
And it all comes down to us doing the things that we had to do when we had to do them. It's now put us into a position where we can do the things that we want to do when we want to do them. A few days ago, like we said, we're in Dubai right now. It was a hell of a week. We were working non-stop for a few months before we decided to go to Dubai on the same day of the flight. That's because we can do things now when we want to do them. If we hadn't done the things that we had to do years ago, we would never be in this position. And that goes to every single person out there who wants to do well, who wants to make a name for themselves, who wants to disrupt and break an industry and really create something special. You have to do the things that are difficult to do that nobody else will do. And it's crazy. I was saying to Hassan after we booked, it's crazy how we can now make 15K fly in the space of 5 minutes and not think twice and not blink. It doesn't make a difference to us. 6 years ago, we would have had to save up for months to be able to do that. And it's crazy when you do put in life and sacrifice, and there's painful days, there's upsetting days, there's days where you feel like a loser. It all pays back. And if you're the person that can do what everybody else doesn't want to do, then you'll be able to enjoy the amazing days that we're having now in Dubai with yourself, being able to go to nice restaurants, go on a yacht, fly business class at the blink of an eye.
Forget business class, the private jets.
The private jets, the first class, all these nice things, they come at a cost. We're at Europe, we can fly Europe, so a return flight private is like 45K in Europe. But when it's like from the UK to Dubai, it's like 100 Gs. Give us the year and we'll be flying there and back, no issues. And the fact is, a lot of people, they want to enjoy the nice things in life. They're looking on social media, they're seeing Lambos, Rolexes, Rolls Royces, and they want that life, and they start hating on people that have got that life, who've actually paid the price to get that life. But then they think to themselves, how do I get it? And there's no shortcut. It comes at pain. It comes at the price of suffering. It comes at the price of sleepless nights. It comes at the price of being frowned upon by your peers, by your family members, by your colleagues, and by older people. The amount of hate that we get from other dentists, it's crazy. And we've come to accept we'll always get that hate because we are living the life that they would dream to live. Yeah. A lot of these older guys that are outdated, that have failed to move with the times, they don't like us. And that's because they wake up, their wife hates them, they're miserable, they get to work groggy, they don't look after their appearance, they're out of shape, they see patients that they don't even like, and then they just whinge all day and they go home unsatisfied, switch on the television, and then they convince themselves that they've made a success out of themselves. But have they really? What change are they making? The answer is not much.
I actually wanted to ask about that because since we last met in the summer, it was very apparent that you guys are successful, and I could see that, and that brought an element of pride to me. I was like, I really resonate to these guys because they went to a similar university environment. They're young and they've done big things. But then when I look in the online space, and specifically at dentists that are looking at you, it's not with that same feeling of pride. It's actually with a feeling of you guys are ruining the industry. And there's that element you just said of dissatisfaction with their own life, personal achievements and so forth, and that is definitely one element. And I think a part of that has to be when they see your life, and maybe they're happy and content with themselves financially, but when they see you guys rolling around in 4 or 5 supercars and private jets, that is insecurity they may have, or more like you are scamming your way, or it's daddy's money. They have to scapegoat that issue rather than look internally. Apart from their personal life and their personal situations, what do you think it is within other dentists that causes that immediate knee-jerk negative reaction towards you guys, as opposed to you guys are in our industry and we should all come together and grow together, as opposed to you're not one of us, which is kind of the vibe I see? I
would say a sense of entitlement. Dentist thinks because they're dentists, they're automatically successful people. But if you think about it, a lawyer, when they go out into the field, they're only successful when they win cases. They're only successful when they have high-paying clients or when they've got a track record of winning. And in dentistry, it almost feels like everyone's successful because they're a dentist and they practice in the UK. But the fact is, why is it different in our industry? You're only successful by your bank balance, and we always say this. Money talks. You can always make up stories and you can make up situations, but what's your bank balance? That's a direct proportion and a reflection of how much value you're giving to the marketplace. And we always say this. If you're waking up in a day and you're the most successful dentist because you've got so much qualifications and so many degrees and so many certificates. That is not a deciding factor as to your success. You can have all that, you can put these posters on your wall, but if you can't feed your family, where's the success? Where does that lie? And where's the line? I think that people, especially dentists, when they do leave negative comments on our posts, and by the way, we receive loads of positive comments as well.
Of course, yes.
You know, and we love the positive comments, but we do receive a lot of negative hate as well. And they think that these people, they probably won't see it, as in me and Hussein, they won't see the comment, or if they do see the comment, they won't care. But to be honest, every time we do see a negative comment from a dentist, it's like a massive punch in our stomach, and it really does hurt us because they aren't nice words to read. And what I'd say to people, especially dentists that leave negative comments on other dentists and other people's posts, is they don't know indirectly and directly what negative impact they have on that person's life. So think twice.
You know, when it's the older generation of dentists, it's very easy for them to sit on their high horse, and then when they see things that they don't understand, which is you guys making TikToks, that is it's something they can't relate to, and it's unfamiliar. They're used to people that are taking more and more qualifications and taking that route. You've skipped all of that and bypassed the success. So when they see this TikTok shenanigans, let's say, they're probably thinking, what are these clowns doing? And that's probably the opinion that they have. But now that we've had more conversations, I've understood more or less that the businesses are growing with or without your TikTok videos, with or without your vlogs. In fact, if you decided to just exit social media yourselves as two individuals, the businesses would still grow and still thrive because they are independent and they are anchored in good entrepreneurship. So when you see these negative comments and there's no real direct correlation with your dental clinics and so forth, why do you still choose to appear online and be on social media?
Because we have a responsibility to spread positivity and inspire others. We believe that many people have ability and have potential inside them, but just by watching one video from somebody who's doing something right, it can motivate somebody else to push forward and achieve great things in their life. And we believe that we have that responsibility, and whilst we have that responsibility, we're not going to stop doing what we're doing. And we've had countless messages from people saying us, guys, I wasn't even going to go do dentistry, but because of your videos, I'm starting university in September. How do you think that makes us feel? There's no number that can put a price on that. It's priceless. And when we see messages like that, it just pushes us to keep going forward. And yeah, you're right. We don't need social media, but for us, it's not just about the money that we make. It's about making a bigger impact on the world. And if we can motivate the youth, the youngsters, to pursue a career in something useful, something positive, and perform better and become a better person, then we're all for that and we'll continue.
So we are in a time now where social media is the way, everything's moving online, but you guys are still a physical business. It's an in-person, with a dentist, it's a clinic. So you've kind of hybridized the online, offline situation, but you're also doing it in not a typical route, which is make content, make YouTube videos and TikToks, and that directly leads to leads and customers and therefore patients. You're kind of doing that anyway in terms of making online content, but there's no link necessarily to your patient bookings. That is a own arm in itself. So talk to me about that situation of how you go from just a local Yorkshire clinic to now nationwide and patients traveling to a local clinic that you have. How does that work?
We'll definitely talk about lead generation for Yorkshire Dental Suite, which is patients interested in treatment that we then book in. But you mentioned one really important point, that things are moving more online, especially since COVID and people working from home. And that's why we acquired SmileWhite, because it's a hybrid between dentistry at online prices, but done through a dentist. People do want to find out more about what treatment's available for them from the accessibility of their own home. And that's how SmileWhite works. Video consultations are done between the patient and the treatment consultant to find out more about what the patient wants. They're given a package online through email. They pay for it all online, and they go to their local SmileWhite dentist for their treatment, and they don't pay anything in the actual clinic physically. And so we really noticed that SmileWhite was growing massively, and that's why we acquired the company. And that is one thing that we noticed. But if we take it back a step and look at Yorkshire Dental Suite and how we generate leads and how we're going to do it on a bigger scale across the UK, it's all about finding something that we call is a fractal. So if you look at something like a plant, it's made out of fractals, which are the cells. But that exact same thing, the fractal, is increased and scaled up to form something bigger. And that's what it's all about, proving concept and proving a model and scaling it up in a bigger way. And that's what we'll be doing. We already have a proven way that's really profitable in generating patients and getting them booked in. We'll just do the same thing across the UK on a bigger scale. And with the PR topic, Waka, we understand that when you make videos, there's not really a direct response, in the sense that you're not saying in each video, in each vlog, where we're going out shopping, for example, go and book a consultation. We actually don't mention at all to book into our clinic. What we need to do now and what we're doing is positioning ourselves as influencers and people of influence in our industry so that people automatically think, okay, if these guys are recommending or indirectly mentioning a practice or a brand, then it must be the right place to go because we have credibility. So the short answer is there's no direct response. However, there's an awareness about where we work, what we own, what we do, what we think is good, and then that will trickle down into customers at some point down the line.
You know, when it comes to paid ads that lead to an online offer, let's say, usually paid ads works very well when it's a low ticket thing of, let's say, an ebook or a workout plan or something like that, where you see a cold ad. It's very easy for someone to purchase something for $100, $200 and not really think about it too much. When you're using online ads to then sell high ticket things, a full implant case that could be tens of thousands, or even just all of these high treatment plans that your clinics are focusing on, how are you able to take a cold ad to someone that you don't even know if they want to be a patient, you don't even know if they have issues in their mouth, to then end up a patient sitting in the seat willing to pay thousands or tens of thousands of pounds?
First of all, you answer the phone when somebody calls, which sounds silly, but you'll be shocked at the number of clinics that you can call tomorrow with an inquiry about implants, for example, or a smile makeover case, and they won't even answer the phone. So the first answer to your question is doing the basics and doing them well. Second of all, it's by creating a smart funnel to nurture somebody through a sequence of content, whether it be video, whether it be email content, whether it be images, to get them warmed up as a lead, and then ensure that when they do inquire, you have somebody trained in sales to contact that person and knows exactly what to say and when to say it to maximize the chance of them getting booked in. But what about at that point where you do call the person, you're speaking to them, and they say they don't want to pay the consultation fee, for example? How are you taking a step down without losing that lead? Can you offer a free video consultation and tell that person that we understand fully that you're not ready to pay your consultation fee? However, we have special provisions set aside for people like yourself that aren't ready to commit to that consultation fee. We can do an e-consultation, which is completely free of charge to yourself with no obligations, and we can find out more about your case and give you some kind of indication on pricing. So it's all about not just a sales funnel, but a detailed sales process from start all the way to the end, whilst looking at all different potential outcomes and having a solution for each of them to maximize your chance of success.
So what I've understood from that is usually if a patient calls up the clinic and then there's a consultation fee, the receptionist sitting there will be like, okay, well, that's the only option, pay. Don't pay in your choice, and it's kind of end of a patient, and that could have paid a lot of money.
Exactly.
So you've recognized that there's bottlenecks or drop-off points in your funnel, and then therefore there are objections, and then you've got things to manage these objections.
At every possible part of the funnel.
And when it comes to the word sales and having a sales team, because I don't think many clinics or any clinics are incorporating that. It's more in the dentist's hand, or maybe even worse in the receptionist's hands, who are not fully qualified to know clinically what to do. So if it's in the dentist's hands, I guess that's a better situation. But you've actually said it's not in the dentist's hands, it's not in the nurse or receptionist, it's the team itself. Why was that a decision to outsource that and make it a specialized employee or someone in your team that focuses just on that task?
So with regards to the inquiry, it's the responsibility of a team that we have called the marketeer team, which are salespeople. It's their responsibility to get the patient booked into the clinician's diary. But then it's the dentist's responsibility to get that patient moving forward with the treatment, whereas what most clinics do is use treatment coordinators, which is way less of a effective model to operate. So we put the onus on the dentist to convert patients for two simple reasons. First of all, when it's the patient's perspective, who will they move forward with in terms of their treatment and committing financially? It will be the person who they trust the most in their eyes and is the most credible in that scenario, which is the dentist. But second of all, who is most likely to be incentivized to get the patient moving forward and handling any objections? It's the person who has the most financial commitment in the situation, which is the dentist. So we identified those two things, we put that model in place, and it works beautifully. So that's why we do it. And just circling back to your previous question, Wakar, about the paid ads and converting it, because you're right, you don't just want to pay for traffic for them to leave your landing page or website. You want that traffic to not even convert on that first visit. I mean, it's great if they do, but most likely if it's cold traffic, they're not going to convert from one click. They need nurturing. But you also have to identify the stages of the buying cycle. Now, not every customer is the same. And what we found is people that are looking on Google have a lot higher intent, so they're further down the buying line than people on maybe TikTok or Facebook who are just browsing. So you need to create different content for different types of customer, and that's what we identified earlier on. A lot of the stuff on Instagram, the content of the smile makeovers, it's just entertaining our audience. And one day, maybe when they get married 2 years down the line or 3 years, we've had people that have said to us, I've been following you for the last 3 years and I finally booked in. So playing the long game with a lot of customers, but then being there open to the people that are wanting to book in straight away. So you need to be able to cater for both ends of the spectrum. And as the market matures as well, you do need different methods to create brand awareness. We are, I would say, the first, or definitely one of the first in the UK to launch big scale billboard campaigns for brand awareness. We combine that with paid ads and organic socials to create more patients in that marketplace.
It's just an omnipresence.
Omnipresence. We're talking about £80,000 campaigns that not even these big corporates, the My Dentist that have got 600 clinics, they wouldn't even consider paying that on a billboard campaign. And you would never hear about an independent chain doing that kind of advertising. And that's because we think big. We understand that awareness will pay back dividends in the long term. If it was just about short-term gain for us, we would not be spending that on a billboard campaign. We understand that customer that sees that billboard might be our customer in 3 years' time. Yeah.
And I like the idea actually, because I saw somebody say this. It's a case of when you get a billboard and you just have the billboard, you're limited by the people driving by and you don't know if they're a customer or not. But the moment you leverage that billboard, which people know costs money, and then you put that physical ad, record it into content, put it online, you just tripled your impressions to a worldwide or UK-wide audience, and not just limited to one road.
Which you'll notice, our TikTok vlogs that get hundreds of thousands of views, we will always include a snippet of us driving past.
Yes.
So that billboard campaign that lasts 10 weeks, it's now something that will stay on our content, on our platforms for years to come. So
I like the point you guys mentioned of the buying cycle, because it's very apparent that somebody maybe wants to be a patient when they get married, which is in 3 years. Somebody's in pain today, that's a different customer type. So I know you guys understand sales beyond just a sales team. The sales begins from the moment they find out about you guys, which is probably content, down to they're sitting in the seat. Every single moment to push them along forward, you're doing some form of selling, just to the next stage. So talk to me about the buying cycle and therefore the strategy of your content and how you are intentional in your daily vlogs, or what you are showing, just like you mentioned of in the corner, a snippet of 1 second driving past the physical billboard. I see in your content, you're always trying to throw things in. So what is the strategy behind your personal content on your personal brands, and then also the YDS content that is out there?
The strategy for our personal brand is very simple. It's changing the perception of dentistry and dentists.
Okay.
Before we did content, and we've really seen this firsthand by messages we've been receiving, people saying that they're shocked that we're dentists, because before, their image and perception of a dentist is somebody who's quite serious, normally somebody who inflicts pain, and they aren't really going to look forward to seeing that person. However, with our content, we try and make dentistry and dentists approachable, fun, enjoying to watch, rewarding. We love giving back and showing that on social media as well. And what that does is it changes the perception of dentistry in people's minds, so they see dentistry in a positive light and they're more willing to interact with dentistry, be it general or cosmetic in the future, because you'll be shocked at how many people are scared to go and see a dentist just for a normal checkup because of their perception of dentistry and dentists.
No, you guys not only have charisma in your personal life, but that shines through in your content. And even just today, the amount of people that just approached you and said, I've seen your vlogs, I've seen your TikToks. And that obviously makes the dentist way more approachable just through your online charisma.
A lot of people, Waka, they make money. As you'll know, you've met super successful people. You're very successful in your own right as well. They make a bit of money, they have nice cars, and they become very serious. How many people do you think make TikTok vlogs who have got a Rolls Royce Cullinan? Not many. And that's a trait that will never change. We'll always be fun people. We will always uplift others. We will always try to make people feel better about themselves, and we'll always be giving their key traits that we will always carry throughout our lives, even when we make that £1 billion, because it's part of who we are. It's part of who Hassan is and who Hussein is. And I urge every single person out there that does become successful to not forget their roots, to forget the person that help them become successful, being kind to people, being courteous, being polite, being respectful. You see a lot of people that they make a bit of money, they talk down to people. And it's a very important thing to kind of maintain.
So one thing that I said to the producer before I entered, I said, you're going to see these guys bring the energy, they'll uplift the room. And when we were out earlier today, we're in a venue and within 1 hour, 2 hours, everybody knows you're there, you're here, you're speaking to everyone. It's not just our table. The waiter goes by, what's your name, where are you from? People walk by, you start up conversations, and then by the time we've left, everyone's like, oh, I've noticed these guys. And that's just charm and charisma that you guys have. But you've also able to put that online. Do you think having that positivity and that energy that you have as individuals is the key to why things have blown up, or do you think it's more strategy and it's a tried and tested model that anyone could replicate?
I think it's half-half. It's 50% who we are. We have an infectious energy. We get told that all the time. We're very gifted and blessed, and it's all thanks to God. And then the other half is strategy, hard work, and dedication. Without one, there isn't another. And I think if we were just strategists, these guys that could just think about a great business plan, then we still wouldn't have had the success that we've had today. It's because we were able to combine the two, and that's why it's worked out so well. It also comes down to, by being the people that we are, people want to join our vision. They want to work with us. And notice I say with us rather than for us, because it is a team effort. If you're somebody who's serious, takes life extremely seriously, if you are having a bad day, everyone knows about it, nobody will want to work with you. If you're the person that, even if you are feeling a bit down, can put a smile on your face, I'm not saying always be positive, but if you can have a smile on your face and uplift others because you're a leader, that makes you somebody who will be able to attract other people on the same journey as you, and you'll be way more powerful and effective moving forward. And again, PR, TikTok vlogs, YouTube vlogs, whatever it might be, putting ourselves out in the media, it's massively helped our companies. People know about us. I mean, what good is it being the smartest guy in the industry or being hugely successful if it's just a hidden secret between you and your friends and your family? If you're great at something, let the world know about it. We've been on TV multiple times. We have people leaving major corporations. In the last 6 months, we've had 3 people join our team who have literally said, I want to work for the Twins. I don't care what you pay me. I want to work for those guys. And they've left big players in our industry. And if it wasn't for us putting ourselves out there, the journey so far would have been twice as hard, I think, because people wouldn't have known what they're joining or what they're doing or how they can help the vision.
So the reason I mentioned the earlier today, where we're in a venue and everybody knows who you are by the time we've left, and even people saying, if you need help with anything, or do you want to take a picture, I can take a picture for you, just offering, and just that friendly environment, like everyone. That charisma that you have and that friendliness and approachableness is something that is also apparent when I've seen your vlogs, when you're speaking to your team, and therefore an element of leadership and company culture. And that's probably the reason you are able to attract top talent. So talk to me about how your approach to leadership and managing, at this point, quite a large team.
Great question. What is leadership? It's getting the best out of people. And you can only get the best out of people when they can relate to you and when they feel that they can be themselves around you. If they have a barrier around you all the time, or they're pretending who they are, they will always be another version of who they are, and they will never be the best version and perform to how you need them to perform to get the best out of them. So leadership comes down to leading from the front, being there, morning meetings, motivation, and recognizing hard work. There's been so many times where we've treated our staff to a Louis Vuitton bag, to a trip for 2, to a spa for a weekend, to dinners out, and team members in the month, all these things that we don't have to do if we were just another greedy set of bosses who wanted to keep every single penny. But we recognize the fact that we are where we are today because of our team. So we're the first people to reward specific people for their performance.
Your team now is how many people?
About 65 people, including dentists.
Okay, so when it comes to such a large team and they're not all in one location, and as you expand multiple cities and online, off everything, you have so many people to manage, not on top of all the other tasks you have, steering the ship. But you've understood that there's a key process and not something you just let them be. And by spending time with you, I've understood you're very active leaders. You're not just letting the team do what they do and just watching the spreadsheet numbers at the end. You're in the trenches and involved. So how are you managing such a big empire, both of you?
One thing we learned from my mentor is management through people, which I'll explain. So to expand as a company, it comes through staff. You'll never grow without people. People are very important. How do you motivate and manage those people? You can't do it all yourself, as you rightly said. What you need is senior managers in each department who are motivated through 3 things: fear, greed, or desire. Ideally desire. You don't really want to use fear because you'll just have a fear culture, which is not good. But you want to show them the way to become more successful, so greed, but also desire, become the best version of themselves. So what we've been doing over the last few months is recruiting that dream team, the dream team of senior managers who we can delegate to, give them clear KPIs, clear goals, a clear vision for where the company's heading, and let them do their thing. One of the main reasons we're here for a few weeks is because we wanted to give our senior managers space to do the best job they can do. Okay. So that's why we're like, let's get out of here. Obviously the weather, getting a nice tan, getting some nice food, but also allowing them space to become the best version of who they can be. And without that structure, you will always be micromanaging. So we are stepping away from the day-to-day runnings of our companies, and we're becoming managers of our managers now. But notice, we only did that when we hit a record month. Some people leave too early, and they put trust in other people too early. When the company is at a point that can't really be sustained and grown from an individual who's not a stakeholder or an owner in the company. But once you hit that sweet spot where things are rolling and you see the machine is operating well, you have to put trust in the right people and essentially lead the leaders rather than just leading everybody.
Yes.
And that's where we're at now.
Okay.
And when we refer to it as a machine, it's not a literal machine. It's because we like to look at different things in business as analogies, as I mentioned. And a business is literally a machine. You have HR, one part of the machine. You have marketing, another part. Sales team, another part. Customer service, fulfillment. All these different parts of the machine formulate that machine. And over the last few months, we have got a hungry machine spitting out fire. It's crazy. It's become fantastic. And all our job now is flicking the switch every so often of the machine, or if a part of the machine is broken, replacing it with a new part that's even better. So...
Or pressing the nitrous oxide button as well.
Yeah, nitrous oxide button. Exactly. So a lot of people in business fail to create a machine. They just have a job which they own. I'll repeat that again. They don't have a business, they have a job which they own. The purpose of having a business is to have freedom, is to have a machine that you can create to become so valuable that hopefully one day you exit, and that's what we want to do. And if we look at our culture, Arab, Pakistani, Indian, a lot of our parents and our uncles and aunties that have great businesses, they don't know when to let go. They're just working for like 20, 30, 40 years. It's like, is that your end goal in life, to keep working? Or is it to create something special, to then be in the position to touch as many lives as possible? And that's where we're at. That's our train of thought. We don't just want to keep working. We want to get to a position where we don't have to go to the office, or we don't have to go to this meeting. We can go where we want. We can give back. We can, work more on our newly set up foundation, the Dalgoose Foundation, and give back and create more great things in this world.
Wonderful. It sounds like in your earlier days where you were more like sponges, just getting as much information on any field, from sales to how to do Facebook ads to just obviously the dentistry side. And that's quite wide, spectrum of knowledge, and you just take whatever and try and apply it as best you can.
Yeah.
And although your growth curve has been very fast, there's been a switch, it sounds like, where you went from general knowledge and just absorbing everything to now I need specific knowledge on, I'm having this issue in management, I'm having this issue in, very specific knowledge. That is probably not so easy to get on online courses and YouTube videos, and therefore you might need some consultants or mentors or hiring the right people. Have you had any external help or a mentor or consultations in the business as you've grown?
So funny you said that, Waqar, because throughout our life, we've always been very curious. We've always asked people questions and we've always listened. And I believe you'll always pick anything up from a person, whatever their position might be. That might be a cleaner, that might be a postman. You can always learn something that you can apply to your life. And there was a situation in COVID where there was a village called Harrogate, which is about 20 minutes away from our hometown Leeds. And during COVID, they had these silly things where like one place would be tier 2, where you had to stay locked in your house. And then a place 20 minutes away was like tier 3 or tier 1, where somebody can, you can go to a restaurant, you can go out, you can basically go wild. So I remember we were like, forget this lockdown, let's go to Harrogate and let's have a good time, and let's go to a nice restaurant, have some nice food. So it was me, Hassan, and a dentist that works for us, and we had a great time. We met these 2 people that were sat next to us on a table, husband and wife. We got talking. It was a great vibe. We shared some stories, and then I actually paid for their bill after knowing them for 30 minutes. And he couldn't believe it. It was like, oh my God, no one's ever paid for my bill before. I must take you guys out. He took us out for coffee, and long story short is the guy sold his company for a massive 8-figure sum 5 years ago, newly retired. And he was like, guys, I'd love to be able to mentor you guys. And since then, he's been our mentor, a fundamental part of our corner, pushing us every single month. And he's taught us so many different things in our life, which have really catapulted our business performance forward.
And the crazy thing is as well, when we sat down together and we told him what our goal is, to make £1 billion, and he said straight away, guys, that's very realistic. I can see your talent and I can see how infectious your energy is. It was that very energy that made him start speaking to us, and for us to have that engaging conversation at the restaurant that then led to him being our mentor. He said, but this is what's going to happen on the journey. We are going to get attacked. We're going to face this obstacle. We're going to face that obstacle at this time. And a lot of what he predicted has actually come true. In the time frame that he predicted as well. And that's the crazy thing about having a mentor who's been down a similar journey that you want to go down. They can see things happening in the future because they've experienced the same troubles in their own journey. And that's why it's so powerful. And sometimes a mentor can be powerful just by telling you that you can do it. When you mentioned that we've grown and succeeded and our growth has been very explosive in the short time frame, I mean, we're 28 years old right now, it's all down to us believing in our minds that we can do it. And that sometimes, well, in our instance, it came from somebody telling us that we can do it, and we believed him. And it's funny because he called us the Cray Twins when he first met us. It was like, because of the scene in the Cray Twins movie where they're sat in a jail cell and they're basically on a bunk bed, sat next to each other, and then a guy comes into their cell and he's like, there's something special about you guys, I can tell. But when you get out there, i.e. the real world, be careful of the people that are going to attack you. Okay. So, you know, we've learned some fundamental things from that person and, you know, we're hugely indebted. Some of the goals as well, when we were speaking about figures, literally we would laugh at the start. Yeah, you know, X amount a day in revenue or by this week or monthly figures. And we would literally laugh and make it seem like we weren't laughing because it was funny, but deep down we were laughing because we felt like it was funny. Because you only know what you believe. And when you have a certain image of what success is and what's achievable because of lack of experience and lack of being able to imagine things, limited beliefs, you hit the nail on the head there, then you can only accept a certain reality. But when your belief changes and your perception of what's possible changes, before you know it, opportunity of the world just opens up in front of your eyes.
You know, to achieve, you know, create these opportunities, you had to break out a lot of norms. And just that simple example of how you met your mentor, it was not just a case of luck of you just bumped into him. You set up that environment. You're willing to talk to people around you in a restaurant and then willing to cover a bill and then also coming across in a way that he's attracted to you guys and said, I want to repay you with a dinner, and seeing that energy. So I definitely believe luck is created. Yep. But beyond that, when you see breaking out of the norm where you are just dentists and that was the box you were in and you've completely shattered that box now. Yeah. But in doing so and breaking out of that box, you had to be willing to put yourself online and do other crazy things that maybe you guys understood because you're younger and you're in this social media generation, but not just the generation above and professors. I'm more thinking just immediate family and friends that maybe just didn't understand why you're taking this route instead of just head down and keep, you know, drilling and filling kind of thing and breaking out from that norm. Did that have any
Definitely. I mean,
pushback?
Our parents and our family have always been extremely supportive throughout our journey, and we're forever thankful for that. You know, we owe them loads. But the fact is, when you are creating content and you're coming out of your comfort zone, you do get frowned upon a little bit. And even if it's not indirectly, you can tell there's a bit of a vibe here where they're thinking, what's going on here? But the fact is, if you can't come out of your comfort zone and create content that's entertaining, you won't be noticed. It's just basically boring content that goes out there that nobody even notices. We have always kept to our principles though and our culture. We haven't done these crazy things that you see online where people do. You know, there was a guy that was running down a street in LA with pillows in his trousers, where it's like the most views video. I've seen that one. So nothing like, exactly. Some cake was going on. Nothing like that. We've always sticked towards our culture within our boundaries. So I guess there was a bit of what's going on here. However, they've understood, look at the results, look at how far it's got us now, look at how being able to put ourselves out there, look at the dividends it's paid back.
The last two questions I have is, well, the first one I want to come on to is, right now, people think they're innovating by doing what others have done because maybe it's not as common. And certain things I was seeing in the dental space 5 years ago when I was at university was using the online space to do before and afters, maybe just talking to the story. And that was working, and some people built a brand off that. Just nice before and afters, professional pictures, and being willing to talk to the camera. Now that has become so widespread, I think all of my classmates from when I graduated all have a Dr. XXX page and doing these before and afters, even with professional cameras, but nobody's getting traction anymore because the market evolves, the industry evolves, people evolve, and the customer also becomes immune to these things. Yeah. So talk to me about your approach now to still be innovating when it comes to dental-related content specific for your patients. Yeah,
there's a great book that I recommend everyone reads. It's by Seth Godin. It's called The Purple Cow. And it talks about marketing and how there's a curve of when people see you. And right at the start of that curve, it's called the early adopters. And if you can be an early adopter in your industry, you have the beginner's edge, basically. And you get there before everyone else. And when on Instagram, for example, we were there before any dentist. I'm talking 6-7 years ago, posting smile makeovers, promo videos, and very few dentists were on there. And like you said, over the last few years, everyone's got doctor before their name. And it's the same before and afters, and it's very, very repetitive. What we sell now is a result. We sell a desired person, a desired version. And when you go out to the marketplace, we do it on a day-to-day basis. You're looking at products and services that will increase your quality of life and how you feel about yourself. So we've switched from selling a result to selling a feeling, an increased level of status, I got my teeth done at YDS.
You made it a brand.
Status, we made it a brand, as opposed to just a treatment. One more thing though, just to mention, doing what Hussein said isn't enough on a massive scale. You have to somehow create your own marketplace as well. And that's why we trademarked nano-filled composite bonding. Composite bonding is one of the most popular cosmetic treatments in the world, without a doubt. However, people didn't know before that composite can be of different types. So when a dentist takes composite, which is white filling material, puts it over your tooth to make the tooth bigger, more symmetrical, look nicer, they can use any type of composite. However, with nano-filled composite bonding, it's the most aesthetic, chip-resistant type of composite the dentist uses on your teeth. So you can rest assured you are getting the best of the best. Because we've trademarked that procedure and technique, you can only go to a Yorkshire Dental Suite clinic for that particular treatment. And it's these kind of angles that we do to build our own markets, which mean that we can be sustainable and grow in the future as well.
When it comes to buyer psychology, where a patient is a buyer, essentially, they're buying a high-ticket service, people mistake and think I need to sell them based on features, on how good this is or how good my clinic is or what machines I have or X, Y, Z. And funnily enough, the mistake dentists make is they'll put so much effort to get the best courses and make the most detailed anatomy of a tooth, and then to the patient, they would not be able to tell the difference. They're just seeing a tooth at that point. So I think a part of it comes from like pride of let me show how good I am to other dentists. So they're making content for other dentists as opposed to for the patient. And when I see the buying psychology of a patient is, as you said, it's on a feeling. It's on, I have a problem, I have a pain point, which is I'm either in physical pain or I don't like my smile, I'm not confident, or I want to get married and I want to have a refresh. They have a feeling that they're chasing, and your content is specifically done for that, where you're showcasing an individual story and an experience. Talk to me about that content that you're making, because you're no longer doing before and afters anymore.
Yeah, so people buy on emotion, then they justify it with logic. We've known that since day one. How can you create emotion in a patient for them to go ahead and take on that service? And it's by outlining to them in that consultation how their life is going to change thanks to that treatment. And you're right, dentists want to convince other dentists who's better, but is that other dentist paying their bills? No, they're not. The patient is. So as a dentist, you have to adopt and change and pivot to what the marketplace requires. And what we realized was patients want to feel at home, they want to feel approachable, they want to feel comfortable, and they want to feel like they're not being judged. Yeah. And exciting content isn't exciting anymore when everyone else is doing it. So it's your job to create new exciting content through creativity, through innovation, through different content angles. And that all comes down to how skilled you are or your team is at thinking of these unique angles. If you can trigger emotion in patients through content, that means the content is successful and you're more likely to get the result.
And I actually believe that's what sales is. It's showing them an emotion and showing them they have a problem and showing them the solution and helping them make that decision. Last point, I want to end on figures. So you guys have mentioned record figures and record months and parabolic growth. And even the discussions we've had in private, it does blow my mind, not only how much you're able to squeeze out of one clinic, which really was like, wow, I didn't know one clinic could do so much, but it's also your willingness to spend in terms of overpaying for certain people compared to the market rate to really have a committed team, or having staff members that are not typically normal. Let's say a media team for a dental clinic doesn't always make sense, a sales team and so forth. So talk to me about your philosophy of just spending and the figures involved there, the current valuations, if you want to disclose that, and obviously the projection that you have going forward for an exit.
So in terms of valuations, we have a goal of selling our group of companies, so YDS Group, for £1 billion. We're 2 years now into this goal, so we have 3 years left. It was a 5-year plan, and we are on track to achieving the figures and hitting the targets that we need to hit to sell for £1 billion. And I genuinely believe that we can do a little bit over in terms of the revenue that we need to achieve to hit that £1 billion valuation. And we're very excited. There's loads of momentum that we have right now. We're driving it hard. To hit figures like that, though, you do have to invest massively into your team by rewarding great talent immensely, but also into marketing, brand awareness, PR, and ensuring that the system between the brand awareness, marketing and PR and the clinicians that treat the patients is smooth and runs without any attrition, that whole process from start to finish. And that's what we really are good at.
So you have this valuation in target of $1 billion, but what is your actual goal to sell it for? Is it less
£1 billion?
You want to sell for £1 billion, the whole group?
The whole group for £1 billion.
Okay, and within what kind of time frame are you?
3 years, so it's a 5-year plan. We're 2 years in, well on target. We have 3 more years now, starting from January. What we've been doing over the last 2 years is creating the machine that's going to get us that billion. And that machine is a beast. And just on that machine as well, and people say, how come you guys are still at one location, even though we have a few more opening up over the next few months? It's because we perfected our machine.
Yeah.
There have been companies, there's a few other big brands in the UK, I would say, but they're struggling right now. Can you believe that? It's because they scaled up too fast.
Yes.
They scaled up in a boom over COVID when everybody wanted cosmetic dentistry. But now that things are a little bit stricter in terms of the environment, they don't know what to do. Their business model wasn't there. We waited a little bit, we were a little bit more patient. We focused on the machine, on the team, on the backup, on building a central functions office, and now we're just ready to explode, and our growth is just going to be astronomical over the next few years.
You know, when people are watching that online, they might think that sounds outrageous, or I don't know, they're just making it up. But now that I've got to know you guys and we've spoke about business, not only have I understood the numbers and that makes complete sense, but also you guys are so sharp in business, ambitious, dedicated. You guys are always on it, even down to hanging out. It's on it. Okay, from here to here. It's your attitude and mindsets that really allow you guys to thrive. So, gentlemen, thank you very much for coming on and having this amazing conversation.
Thank you.
And off we go to dinner and continue.
Let's do it.
There we
Thanks,
go.
Waka.